Megyn Kelly, and we begin today with the question of whether transgender high school girls should be allowed to race on high school girls' track teams. It is happening in various states across the country, including Connecticut, where two transgender girls are burning up the track, winning a lot of races. And some parents are complaining, saying it is not a level playing field, and they want a statewide change in the rules. For more on this and other headlines making the rounds today, joining me now, NBC's Craig Melvin, Cynthia McFadden, and Amy Holmes is here as well, co-host of PBS's In Principle. Hello. Thank you, Sarah. Hi there.
Whoa.
How's it going? Great to have you here. So this is something that we're dealing with as a country, as a society, as we see more and more students identifying and openly identifying as transgender girls or transgender boys. And just for the audience at home to clear up the terminology, if you're a transgender girl, it means that you were assigned male at birth, that you were, people say born a boy. The transgender community prefers assigned male at birth. And so these are kids who were sort of raised as boys and then identified as girls and have decided to embrace that, and they are transgender girls. So transgender girl, girls racing in track on the girls' team and winning. And in Connecticut, these parents have said it's not fair because they think they have an advantage, that physical advantage over, it's called cis girls, like cisgender. Forgive me because we're still getting up to speed, but cisgender is, if you're a cisgender girl, it means you were born a girl, you identify as a girl, you've been a girl the whole time. Yeah. Everybody agrees you're a girl. Forgive me because it's always dicey and you don't want to offend anybody, but I think I've gotten it right. Sure. So, what do you think?
I think it is unfair. And I think in fairness, that's why we have gender segregated sports. So if you have someone who is biologically male, transitioning, and running against girls, there is a physical advantage. There's a testosterone advantage. And in this case, these two students, transgendered girls, they're winning first and second in races that knocks out other girls who were also competing that don't get to go to state, that may not have access to sports scholarships. So I think when we're talking about contests of physicality, athleticism, that there are real gender differences, biological gender differences that advantage males over females in certain contexts. Another example, would you put Michael Phelps in the pool swimming against Katie Ledecky? No, you wouldn't. You would know that there is a biological advantage there that I think is pretty obvious.
Katie Ledecky.
Katie Ledecky, pardon me. Although Katie Ledecky would probably tell you she could give Michael Phelps a run. But,
maybe.
But it's also, I think it should be noted in this Connecticut case as well, just a month prior, one of these racers was racing as a boy.
Yes. Right, on the boys' team.
Yeah, so and it may have been 2 months, but not more than that. So, I don't know, Megyn. This is a complicated question, but I do think, as you said off the top, this is going to become one of the questions of our time as this becomes more prevalent in school districts all over this country.
I think there's a myth of an even playing field. I really respectfully disagree. There are all kinds of reasons that people have advantages. Somebody's parents can give them year-round training. Somebody else is really, really tall and someone's really, really short. I mean, there's no such thing as a level playing field. You are the gender you identify with. That's the rule in Connecticut.
And even the folks in Connecticut who are complaining have no problem with that. These are not people saying we reject transgender students. They're saying, but when it comes to this issue, that they think there's an unfair advantage.
So I guess I wish we could all have the attitude of the young woman who came in third. And here's what she says. To be honest, I think it's great they get a chance to compete. And as long as they're happy, I guess there's not much I can do. She continues. The rules are the rules. The only competition is the clock. You can only run as fast as you can. And I hope that we're getting to live in a world in which young people, all of us, get to articulate who we feel we are. I have covered this story for years.
I don't think we have to reject that. I don't think there's not a binary choice that if you are conflicted on this issue, you're against transgender people.
And in fact,
but you're against them being able to hold it. You are against them being able to compete as the gender that they identify
Well,
with.
I think they're wrestling with how to handle it sensitively to all people involved.
Well, the Connecticut rules are
And if I
established.
could add, I actually interviewed a transgendered person for my PBS show, and we talked about the case in Connecticut, and she said that she thought it was unfair if this student has not been taking hormones, isn't going through transition.
Because let's talk about the hormones
well,
then.
there's a problem.
Because what happens at the NCAA level, right, at the college level, is they say that you male to female transgender, that you need to have been doing hormone therapy for at least a year because the testosterone levels, they think, at that level need to come down to make it more even, because a lot of testosterone that's where guys get their big muscles from, and they get that's where you get it from.
And weightlifting and working out, of course.
Anyway, so they think once it sort of gets to levels that make them, you know,
but fair
physically.
enough, but you can't. But here's the problem: if you're a kid, those are adults. Okay, if you're a kid, you don't have that option in many circumstances.
Right.
In some states, in many states, you can't even begin that until you're over 16.
I think Connecticut may be one of them.
They are.
Right.
But I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying in terms of everyone being at some sort of disadvantage. Are you saying that boys and girls at the age of 14 or 15 are the same physically?
No, what I'm saying, though, although a lot of doctors say that some boys mature faster in terms of their physicality and some girls mature faster, and, you know, in the wonderful research packet provided by your producers, there are a lot of references, including a Yale physician who says, you know, it's just a myth that all boys are stronger and faster than all girls.
But we're
and
not
in
talking
fact,
about
to prove
averages.
that, a young woman in Connecticut won the 500.
Right.
She won the 500.
Right.
Competing
Go ahead,
against.
Amy.
Yeah. However, I think if we were to take the logical conclusion is that we should never have gender-segregated sports, that we don't recognize that
There are some pushing for that.
There
are some
are
pushing for
physical differences, that we should have LeBron James playing in the WNBA. I think a lot of people say that doesn't really make sense.
He might win a championship there.
I don't think that's what anybody is saying, and I think that's an absurd.
You're wrong.
What do you think?
You are
What do
wrong.
you
There are some who are pushing, especially transgender rights advocates, who are saying we should get rid of gender assignments when it comes to sports, and that there should just be a football team. Now, let me finish. That there should just be a football team, and it shouldn't be like a guys' football team. There should just be track, boys and girls track, and the top 30 make it, and the next 30 don't.
And a lot of people say that
and a lot of people say, well, that's going to lead to no more girls' athletics because the boys are going to have an advantage.
And the whole point of Title IX, which created the federal requirement to have girls' sports and have schools recognize girls' athleticism and competition in sport, was to do this, to recognize and create sports programs for girls, because before that, it was all for boys.
Listen, I think that to me, it's a provocative and interesting conversation. My hope in raising it on the show is that we can have a conversation that is enlightened and kind and respectful to everyone involved. Without, you know, I think everyone needs to be tolerant of the other in having this kind of talk, because society is just getting used to this and trying, I think, earnestly to struggle and be respectful. So thank you for being part of that. Great to see you all. We'll be right back.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.